This global warming business is anti-God. If you don't believe God can run things, he created this world. And a lot of people, here's what God spoke to me. I'm going to share you something I've never shared before, I don't think. But God spoke to me that a lot of people are not going to accept the signs, listen to me, of the second coming, that the rapture's near, because they're going to call it global warming problems.
Hi, this is comedian Alonzo Bodden with another Rebel HQ TYT video, and guess who's back? We are talking old school Jim Bakker, the OG ripoff preacher. That's right. Remember PTL? Remember that Praise the Lord church? Him and Tammy Faye? Fleecing people, fleecing the flock. Back in the 70s and 80s, before there was an internet, getting them by phone, which might be why Jim still has a phone number on his website or whatever he's talking. Jim, really? You're back in the game? I didn't even know, Jim. And now you're talking rapture. You're talking second coming. You're talking about global warming not being real. Jim, you just had to pay $156,000 in a lawsuit over your fake COVID claims. And once again, you're going to challenge science? How much money do you have? Wow, Jim, I don't know about this global warming not being real. God spoke to you about it? Really?
They're going to say earthquakes are global warming. No, God has given that thousands of years ago. It was in his word. These are the signs.
Now, Jim, I'll tell you why we know that God had nothing to do with global warming, because Hurricane Ian didn't take out Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, God had a direct shot at that one and let it pass. So I don't think he had anything to do with global warming. But I wouldn't call global warming anti-God. Now, as for the second coming, I mean, didn't we, look, Harold Camping back in 2011, the second coming. Pat Robertson predicts the second coming every, 3 or 4 weeks. Pat Robertson also predicted that Donald Trump was going to win in 2020 and we'd be wiped out by an asteroid. Big money in us getting wiped out, I guess, Jim. But Jim, do you really want the second coming? With the things you've done, do you really want to meet Jesus after fleecing the flock with the PTL, after the whole Jessica Hahn scandal? That's right, you tell Donald Trump you were paying off women before he even knew what was going on. $265,000 to hook up with a 21-year-old and cheat on your wife and rip off the church. And now you want Jesus back? Really? Jim, think about it.
You know what? Trump is a test. Whether you're even saved. Only saved people can love Trump. No, you got to be really saved. You got to forgive. You got to be able to forgive. You forgive when you're saved.
So, Jim, why are you guys so anxious for the second coming? Do you want to watch the truly good people float away? I mean, I'm not saying I'm floating, Jim, but I think even I have a better chance than you racist, misogynist, money-grubbing fake preachers. Do you really want Jesus here? You know, Jesus wouldn't have been big on Donald Trump. Nah, not his type. Also, Jesus was out there healing the sick that didn't even have health insurance, and he liked to help the poor. Jim, you don't like to help the poor. You had golden toilet fixtures, as does Donald Trump. You want to try to explain that to Jesus? Have you seen the Donald Trump idol? The little gold Donald Trump? Well, he's a little fat gold Donald Trump. But either way, I mean, it's in the book. It's in the book, Jim. You're not supposed to worship golden idols. You're in trouble, Jim. You don't want Jesus coming back. If I were you, if global warming is anti-God, I'd be all over the global warming. Because in the end, do you think Jesus is going to love people who tried to love the planet or people who are fracking it? Now, Jim, I do understand this global warming second coming thing is good for business. I know you talked the flock into giving you all their evil money before Jesus comes back. But what if he does come back, Jim? You're going to be caught with all that evil money. This one just doesn't seem right. And you've been talking to God. Jim, no, you haven't, Jim. No, you haven't. You've been talking to the IRS. You were talking to the Attorney General of Missouri. But God, no, Jim, you haven't been talking to God. Listen, Quit while you're ahead. Quit. I know you still got some of that PTL money stashed from back in the day. Jim, you're doing all right. Stop it. Global warming, that's a young man's game. You don't know anything about that. Stick to the old school stuff. Tell them the rapture's coming and they're sinners and what, I don't know. Teach them to hate black people like they did back in the day, before we had Mexicans. That's more your speed. Jim, you go old school and you get your money, all right? You sell some of them $25 DVDs, but you ain't ready to take on global warming. You ain't ready to take on science. Jim, I don't think you can handle another fraud lawsuit. Do you have that much money? Is it working? Is the flock out there? I mean, listen, Trumpy's selling those NFTs. He's ripping off the flock. At least he's giving them something digital. You got nothing digital. DVDs, Jim? Come on, jeez. Even I'm not selling those. I do have some CDs available, though, if you're interested.